Guests on the show, Nicholas and Chirayu. Nicholas, let me come to you first. We were talking about this day before yesterday as to what we can expect in these elections, and as expected and as exit polls predicted, it has been a landslide victory for the Labour Party and Keir Starmer. But help us understand, Nicholas, what has worked for Keir Starmer?
Well, it's difficult to say what has worked. Because his success is partly because of disenchantment with the ruling Conservative Party, the previously ruling Conservative Party, I should call them. But as Danish summed up very nicely, the expectation is very high because it's one thing to be changing a party in power, in this case after 14 years, but for the new party to have such a massive majority is quite unusual, and it really does raise the expectations. I think Danish said it well, with high numbers of a high majority, then come high expectations. And he has to fulfill those expectations. What has worked for him? Well, you could say he's reformed the Labour Party quite successfully from the party that 5 years ago did very badly in the elections. This is to do with it was under Corbyn's leadership, and it really wasn't electable. That was the conclusion of the public at large. Now we're seeing that Keir Starmer's Labour Party is highly electable by the election figures. The fact that he's got roughly 2/3 of the seats in the lower house of Parliament shows that he has a mandate. It's not just a marginal victory, it's a very successful victory. So that's what's worked for him. You could say he's got a very good team around him. He has, of course, tried out various people in the shadow position. That's what we call it when they're waiting to take over. And he's moved very fast to put the key members of that shadow cabinet into position, as again Danish was pointing out. So they're in place. Okay. We weren't without a government for very long at all. We have a government already. Of course, more appointments will be made. So expectations are high. Yeah. The mood, the atmosphere is good. And we shall see what happens.
Okay, Chirayu. Those were the expectations from the British citizens. Here in India, what should we expect now? The new party, the new Labour Party now forming the government in UK. How does this impact the India-UK relationship? And what are some of the things that India should be placing right ahead on day one? Its concerns, the challenges in the bilateral relationship?
Was that for me, Shreya?
Yes, Chirayu, please.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for having me. I think from New Delhi's perspective, what is a sigh of relief is that the current dispensation that has just ushered in would not be led by someone like a Jeremy Corbyn. So that's a great news for starters. And I think once the government settles down, usually new governments, they are divided between foreign policy agenda and domestic agenda. But in this case, I think clearly the domestic agenda would take precedence. So that is one thing. But as soon as Keir Starmer and his team, they are ready for business internationally, and then they turn to Asia, India should be ready with its own agenda. Even before they have taken charge, the Shadow Foreign Secretary, David Lammy, he has made clear that India-UK Free Trade Agreement is very important for them and they are going to work on them. So even before we present the agenda, the incoming government knows what they have to do and what they need to do. Of course, it is not purely about economics and numbers. There are political issues involved. For example, India's concerns regarding the Khalistani elements, India's concerns regarding economic fugitives who have taken refuge in UK. All these issues are intertwined with pure numbers and economic issues. Apart from that, mobility of Indian students, visa issues, they are also interlinked with this India-UK Free Trade Agreement. So that is a priority that will help place things in order, and I think there should be some momentum on that front as soon as the new government is ready, and that is what New Delhi should be looking for.